This hospital is so haunted, police won't enter. The old historic Harriman Hospital in Tennessee is widely regarded as one of the most haunted spots in all of America. The hospital itself was built in 1939, and throughout its years, it's seen countless deaths and great tragedy with floods, fires, and tornadoes. And as the town's population grew, there was a demand for more beds. The community had outgrown the hospital. It wasn't until the early 90s it got a major renovation and a new lease on life. A 4-story addition, a new emergency ward was built, state-of-the-art operating rooms, and the hospital expanded. And this really seemed to ramp things up. Not long after this, healthcare workers, visitors, and residents in town began to notice some really strange paranormal activity. Many reported seeing apparitions, figures, ghostly children roaming down empty hallways. Items would move without anyone being present. Eventually, the hospital closed its doors in 2013 and it sat abandoned, becoming a victim to the elements. And over time, the hospital got an even spookier reputation. Ghosts were seen looking out windows of empty rooms. One of the most frequently seen spirits is Joanna, a nurse that worked at the hospital decades back. A sudden heart attack took her life at an early age, but that didn't stop her from her work. Joanna's ghost is frequently seen still making her rounds at the hospital, just as she did when she was alive. According to those who knew her, Joanna called the hospital her second home, and she promised her coworkers that if she died, she would pay visits to her beloved hospital. And it looks like she kept her promise. Hospitals are a nexus point between life and death, a place where so many enter the world, but also leave it. Some believe ghosts are all over hospitals, but because ghost patients, doctors, and nurses look just like live ones, we have no idea. That is really spooky, isn't it? Besides this being a hospital, seeing so much tragedy, what else could be contributing to this paranormal activity? Perhaps the land that it sits on? Situated in between rivers, the property the hospital sits on was once home to the Cumberland Hotel, which burned down, reporting many casualties. Either way, the hospital was purchased in 2022, and a team took on the task of fixing it up for preservation and investigations. Harriman Hospital will remain an iconic location in town. It's been used in TV shows, movies, and is a hotspot for daytime and nighttime paranormal investigations and events. New owner Ronnie D said, quote, "Hospitals are really unique because they're the only building in America where everything happens, from birth to death and everything in between," end quote. Police have frequently been called to the hospital, and many refuse to go in alone. Too many spooky paranormal experiences there, I don't blame them for not going in. There'll be reports of residents seeing figures in the windows moving around. Authorities were called, thinking these were trespassers, but when police will walk through the building to check, there's no one there. No one living, at least. One hotspot at the hospital is the second floor, where many report seeing a 7-foot-tall shadow figure. 7 feet. 7 feet tall. Oh my gosh. One visitor, username JustOkayLife, said he visited the Harriman Hospital and said, quote, "Earlier in the night, I was walking down a dark hallway alone on the first floor, and from the left side of me, there was a doorway where I heard a hissing sound shoot out one of the rooms, moving towards me," end quote. Many say the hospital has an odd feel. Because it's newly abandoned, it feels like people should be there, but it's completely empty. One visitor named Val said that while they were at one of the nurses' stations, they heard a landline phone ring from what sounded like another dimension. Another spooky occurrence that many teams have reported at the hospital is one or more of the spirits there will reportedly mimic the voices of those touring. So you will hear your own voice call out to you while at the hospital. Oh no, that's a whole new level of creepy. Another visitor posted to an online forum and said while touring the hospital, she too was walking around the second floor. She had come with a group and they had all gone off exploring. As she was looking around, she heard footsteps coming from inside a room down the hall. Given how loud the footsteps were, she walked towards the room, expecting to find one of the other members of her group inside checking it out. But when she got to the room, it was dark and completely empty. She quickly booked it back down the hallway, and her experience left her a believer. The Harriman Hospital is indeed as haunted and active as people say. Phantom phone calls, doors opening and closing on their own, strange sounds, anything's possible at the old Harriman Hospital. But I gotta know, do you think you're brave enough to tour the historic Harriman Hospital late at night? If you said yes, could you do it alone? That's the real question. Everybody's brave in a group. If you enjoyed this episode and love ghost stories, subscribe to this channel. You are in the right place, my friend. Give this video a like and share Avery After Dark with your friends, family, coworkers. Anyone in your life that loves a little spookiness. Until next episode, I'm Avery Ross, and this is Avery After Dark.